Hey guys, it's Nick. Welcome to Long Island Wargaming, and we're going to be doing a quick battle report. This is a spectator battle report. I'm actually not in this game. Our friend Christian is going to be playing a game with Rich. He is new to Warhammer. He only has a game under his belt, so he played some High Elves. Now he's going to be playing with some Warriors, and Rich is going to play the same list that you saw in last game. So let's dive on into it. So Rich has his Hurricanum, his Great Swords with a Warrior Priest, a big block of Spearmen with a Warrior Priest and BSB, cannon behind the Free Company detachment, and then 3 Demigryph. Then countering that deployment, we have from left to right 3 Skull Crushers with a Champ, Gorby's Chariot, and a regular chariot, both marked Nurgles. Unmarked Warriors, they have 17 guys, came up in shield with a level 2 caster of Death, and then 2 units of War Dogs. So, Rich actually gets all those guys down first, and he gets the +1, so he goes first. Right off the bat, no offensive magic based on the Warrior Priests, but we do have the Hurricanum, which is going to do that silly little random spell. He gets it off. It's actually placed right onto the Warriors. Rich rolls up the Tornado, and these Warriors decide to go sideways, which is pretty funny and really sucks for a Warrior unit that, is already moving pretty slowly across the board. The cannon took a shot at the Gorby's Chariot, but fell short. And then we move on to Christian's turn. The Chaos Warriors attempt to make a swift reform with their musician, but actually fail, so all they do is a regular reform, which really sucks. You can see that the Hurricanum Rich moved up last turn. This way he can get that spell in range, but everything else backed up. So the Hounds are just going to go get in the way over there, and then the Skull Crusher is going to try to wrap around to the left of that impassable terrain, or the Blooded Tower, which is just mundane. So Rich goes for his movement in his move 2, his turn 2, and the Demigryph just move up a little bit, and the Great Swordsmen just get positioned because they know they're going to have to deal with those Skull Crushers. It's not going to be pretty. Still no need for any defensive magic, so Rich goes ahead and does the Hurricanum, but it scatters off and doesn't hit the Skull Crushers. I think he was trying to go for another Twisty, so that would have been cool if they ended up facing the wrong direction. And this time the cannon actually hits its mark and peels off the core beast chariot from the battlefield. So Christian's turn 2. Skull Crushers are moving up. The chariot needed a 10 to hit the Hurricanum, and he rolled it up. It was definitely worth the chance. Otherwise, he was going to move up only 8 inches, which you don't want him too far ahead because then the Spearman could have came after him, or the Hurricanum could have charged. Not that it would be a good reason to, but you don't want that chariot in a vulnerable place, especially when you have impact hits. But he rolled up a 9, so he just missed it, so he shuffled up 5 inches, which is fine because he's still moving up at the same speed as the Warriors. So, Empire turn 3. Rich just repositions the Great Swords this way an overrun won't bring him too close to to the Hurricanum. Hurricanum backs up, obviously, and the Demigryphs go on in after the War Dogs. During magic, he goes for the Hurricanum again. Still no need for defensive spells, or the Christian's Warriors are still a little ways off. It scatters a bit and hits the chariot, but it does like a strength 3 hit. I don't remember what result that was, but the center was not over it. The center would have been nice because it would have been strength 6 hit, I believe, but strength 3 hit, toughness 5, armor 3 up, nothing happened. And the cannon blew up, which is awesome. That allows the chariot to make sure he gets into combat. Now, in combat, to Rich's surprise, he was unable to kill all the dogs, which means they could stick with Insane Courage, which is unlikely, or they could turn and run, and then he can hold. But if he holds, I don't believe he gets a combat reform. And with the worst possible odds, Rich fails his leadership test to restrain, and rolls a 12 for his pursuit, so he just runs completely out of the way all the way across the table, so that was kind of upsetting. So essentially he wanted to reform, face the next unit of dogs, and send the Demigryphs right on into those warriors. So Christian's turn 3. The chariot tries to make another charge again, but fails. It was worth a shot. The warriors, you can see, still have not caught up yet, so it's not a big deal. And the Skull Crushers go into the Great Swords. Oh, and these dogs go into the Free Company. And then you could see here, after the failed charge of the chariot and the warriors marching 8 inches, they're right on par. Finally, in range for some magic, or a need for some magic, Christian goes ahead and casts Soul Blight onto the Great Swords. And then into the combat, the Warrior Priest gets killed in a challenge. You always have to issue your challenges as your Warriors of Chaos. Eye of the Gods yielded like crap. What was it? Oh, +1 armor save, I believe. So that doesn't really do anything for a Juggernaut cavalry. So two great swords stick, and that's all you need to get a stubborn. So Rich gets into a position in his turn 4, moves up the spearman for what I'm going to guess is so he can protect the Hurricane, but also not be too close to the table edge. This way, maybe the Demigriffs can get into combat, get some action at this point. He goes ahead and does the Hurricane spell again, and nothing. Oh, I think some Strength 6 and Strength 3 hits get through. I think it's like a Lightning Strike, and then also Rich is able to successfully get off reroll missed hits, I believe, missed wounds with his Warrior Priest on the Spearman unit. And the Skull Crushers destroy the rest of the Great Swords, which is good. This actually ended up working out better, I believe, because if he would have destroyed them all last turn, he would have had been forced to overrun, and then he would have been forced to go off the table edge, come back, spend a turn moving, and then been able to charge. But since he just finished them off here on a turn that he didn't charge, I'm pretty sure he gets the combat reform and he gets to face that direction, which is pretty sweet. And then Christian's turn for the charges that will seal the game. He goes ahead and goes into the Hurricanum. He's got to choose his combats right here. He'll do the Skull Crushers first, of course, to get rid of the +1 to hit for the Horde. And then also you can see there's just enough room to overrun, which is perfect. And you can also see how far away the Demigriff are. They're just never, they're not going to be able to save them in time. So the Hurricanum bites it, runs off the table, and then the counter charge or the support charge into the flank here. And then this picture just sums up when 3 Skull Crushers, Khorne, Nurgle Chariot, and Chaos Warriors enter combat with Empire Spearmen. So a victory going to Christian. I was rooting for him. It was his first game against Rich, and Rich is usually very harsh on newbies. He's just competitive by nature, so he plays to win. He doesn't take it easy on them. But at least I was there to guide Christian through some smart maneuvers and decision making. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little 1,000 point game, and we'll see you in the next video.